She was engulfed, just scrabbling, desperately trying to free herself and trying to get out of the way of the bulldozer.
Then actually Rachel was alive. Somehow when her friends ran up to her, she said, "I think my back is broken."
I'd taken my phone out to call an ambulance, but as soon as she said my back is broken, I dropped my phone and just held onto her head to try and stabilise her spine. And it was just such a miracle. It was like, how did she survive? She looks a mess, but it doesn't matter. She's alive, she's talking.
But that's the last thing she was able to say. And since then we've talked to the Palestinian ambulance drivers who said that essentially when they got there they didn't see any sign of life, and I think she probably, not only was her chest crushed and stuff, but probably she choked on sand that they found in her windpipe. Rachel was killed on March 16th, this Sunday.
This is not at all what I asked for when I came into this world. This is not at all what the people here asked for when they came into this world. This is not the world you and Dad wanted me to come into when you decided to have me. This is not what I meant when I looked at Capitol Lake and said, "This is the wide world and I'm coming to it." I did not mean that I was coming into a world where I could live a comfortable life and possibly, with no effort at all, exist in complete unawareness of my participation in genocide.
A few days after the death of Rachel Corrie, a memorial service was held on the spot where she was killed. An IDF tank appeared, sprayed those in attendance with tear gas, and fired warning shots to disperse the crowd. The bulldozer that crushed Rachel Corrie to death was driven by a Russian immigrant, codenamed Doby. He was an Army reservist and an experienced bulldozer operator. And while the driver showed no remorse for the result of the day's events, he refutes the reports of the eyewitnesses and claims that he had no knowledge that Corrie was in front of his machine.
The State Department reported that the President had a telephone conversation with Prime Minister Sharon, and Prime Minister Sharon promised a thorough, credible, and transparent investigation with a report to be given to the U.S. government. In that report, they say that the Israeli military, the three vehicles, did retreat towards the border for a little while. And the reason for that is that their standing orders were they could not disperse civilians when they were doing these operations. Then they were to cease their operations. So they stopped, radioed back, and got a new order that said that the internationals were not to interfere with their work and to go back in. And by their report, 5 minutes later, Rachel was killed.
The investigation by the IDF into the death of Rachel Corrie calls the event a regrettable accident and puts the blame on Corrie for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The IDF maintains that it is difficult for the drivers to hear and that their view through the windshield is limited.
She was in the wrong place, in the wrong time, endangering her life, the Palestinian lives, and our soldiers' lives by disturbing an IDF operation.
You know, we live with this every day, and I still draw comfort from the fact that she had said to us, this was one of the most important things I've ever done in my life. It's really clear to me in looking at the writing that she was doing, in listening to the thinking that she was doing about where her life might go from this point, that this was a turning point for her as well. She was seeing work that needed to be done, and thinking about ways to have impact.
Standing in front of a bulldozer defending a house from being demolished is not radical. This is not the problem. The problem was the bulldozer wanting to demolish the home of a pharmacist and his family. And the justification, it is not okay. You cannot demolish people's homes. It is a violation of a basic universal human right.
I believe that the work that she was doing is very much in the interest of Israelis and Americans as well as Palestinians in trying to, you know, address what's happening there.
When we prevent a house from being demolished, we prevent the next suicide bombing. This is how we do this, by stopping this cycle of oppression. And Rachel saw it, and this is why she wanted to go to Palestine, and this is why she wanted to go to Rafah.
There has been a positive response, and it's good to see both in our community in Olympia, Washington, but also in the community of the greater world.
Rachel Corrie will be remembered for the words she left behind. The collection of emails has been published worldwide in newspapers, books, plays, and on the internet. And while they have drawn fierce criticism from opponents who want her voice silenced, others continue to look to them for hope and inspiration.
I was asked by an Israeli reporter half a year after she was killed, how do I explain the fact that so many people around the world know who Rachel Corrie is and are writing plays and books and poetry readings and remembering her. And he said, you know, we all have a Rachel Corrie inside us. That's our conscious. That's that fearless part of us that says, no, this is not right, this is not fair.
Whenever we have to die, if we can die at a moment when we feel like we're contributing to the world, when we have plans for what we're going to do next, that to me seems like a really positive, good thing, rather than being at the end of our lives and thinking, I don't want any more, or what can I do, or whatever. I mean, some of the kind of discouraging places we often get to at the end of life. I think this is to me very. She left in a hopeful place, and after doing some important work, she doesn't and didn't know about the impact that she would have. But I think that's also, in a way, a hopeful thing.
If we're going to stand up for human rights, the only way to do that is to stand up for the rights of all humans. And when we make statements, then those statements, it can't matter whether that's Rachel, an American, whether it's an Israeli whose human rights that are violated through a horrific bus bombing, or a Palestinian, or anyone. Those rights are for all humans, and when we take it away from one, like Gandhi and Martin Luther King have said, when those rights are violated for one, they're violated for all.
I'm here because I care. I'm here because children everywhere are suffering. We have got to understand that the poor are all around us and we are ignoring them. We have got to understand that these deaths are preventable. We have got to understand that people in third world countries think and care and smile and cry just like us. We have got to understand that they dream our dreams and we dream theirs. We have got to understand that they are us. We are them.